Welcome back. The holidays are nearly here, and many of us will be spending quality time with our loved ones, celebrating the season, sitting down to a festive feast, and maybe having some difficult money conversations on the side.
Money expert Robyn Thompson says the holidays are actually the perfect time to broach family financial matters, and she's here to tell us why. Welcome back to the show, Robyn.
Hi, everybody. I mean, Robyn, it goes without saying, money can be a really touchy subject for a lot of people to talk about. So why are you saying the holidays are the perfect time to discuss it?
Okay, hear me out. I know it's money and the holidays, but this is the time when we're all together. Both our immediate family, our extended family, we're all under one roof at the same time. So what that does is it gives us the opportunity to have these heavier conversations that you don't normally have time to do that. And I know, listen, it's a difficult conversation when you're talking about money with people. But if you think about how rewarding it would be when you allow the people in your life to tell their truth about where they are. Yeah, so it's a good time.
Okay.
All right, so the next important question is the when.
Yes.
So when should you and when shouldn't you bring this up?
There's definitely the time and not the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to choose your moment, and then you're gonna have to make your move. And it's probably not, hey, Dad, pass the turkey, do I get money from your will?
Right.
Like that's not what we're talking about right here.
Yeah.
You wanna have the holiday be part of family, be part of love and joy, and have all of those moments. But then afterward, find a moment.
Okay.
To sit down and have a conversation. I know, it's a big conversation. But let me tell you, when you give people the space to have the freedom around this conversation, you come at it from a place of generosity and interest and not from confrontation, you can create bonds and structure within your family that you can't do any other way.
True.
Let's talk about the approach. And you say to depersonalize the conversation. What does that look like?
I know, depersonalize, what a word, eh?
Yeah.
So here's what we should do. We should never judge the people in our lives for how they spend their money. We should never, ever do that. And we should never give unsolicited money advice. Anybody here want some unsolicited money advice?
Nope.
No, we should not do that. So what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna have a conversation that gives them the space to have a chat. So you might say something like, oh, last week, Mom, I was reading in the paper, or I had lunch with Mel last week, and she was talking about her parents, and they don't have a will. And I was thinking, I don't have a will. Do I need to have a will? And that's gonna start a conversation, but not from the place of badger, what are you doing? Where's your will? It gives you an open, free conversation to take and receive information.
And you say tone is also really important.
No, so it can be like, money, how are you, right? Your tone is going to make a huge difference. If you think about how people talk to you, how do you want to be talked to? How can you receive? So it's about speaking in a way that gives people contribution, because this is a gift. And I know it sounds weird. It's not in a box, there's no pretty bows, but this is called peace of mind. For a longer term in your family, to not have people worry about where things are, you can still have turkey, you still get to have your yams and your potatoes or whatever you eat, but make it so that people feel comfortable.
Yeah, that's solid advice, because not just what you say, but it's also how you say it, which is great advice. All right, so what are the top conversations that we should be having with our families this holiday season?
So the number one here is estate planning. I know, it's that word, estate planning. And this is have a conversation about your will. So the first thing is that 50% of Canadians do not have a valid will. So half of us in this room do not have a will. And if you die without a valid will in Canada, you die intestate, which means the government decides where your money is going to go. Do you think that's anyone's will?
No.
Right, guys? That's no one's will.
Yeah.
So have that conversation, 50%. So people are afraid to talk about this from two reasons. Number one, if you're older, you feel like, oh my God, maybe I'm not gonna be here someday. And you become afraid if you're a parent. And if you're in the younger generation, you're like, I can't bring that up because they're gonna think I want their money. They're gonna think it's all about the money. But if you don't have this conversation, then what your parents or what your family members actually want to take place, what their will is, won't actually happen.
Wow.
Good point.
50%.
And you say that discussing power of attorney is critical in all of this.
Yeah, power of attorney, it sounds very legal because it is. And a power of attorney essentially is you're giving your voice to someone else when you can't speak on your behalf.
Okay.
So this has to come with finance. If something happens to you, how do you keep your children fed? How do you keep the lights on? How do you keep the mortgage paid? This gives them the ability to be able to do that. And then medical directives. So where do you want to be when if you come to a point where you can no longer fend for yourself? Do you want to be in a home? Do you want to stay at home and have care? What are those decisions? 65% of Canadians do not have a power of attorney. 65%, which means you need to give yourself a voice, give your family members a voice by trying to have some of these more difficult conversations.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And lastly, you say consider talking about your money wishes.
Yes.
And also debt. This is going to be one heck of a holiday
Yeah.
dinner.
One dinner.
How did I follow the makeup segment? How did that happen? I think it's about, especially when you're in the sandwich generation, and you may be responsible for taking care of maybe one of your parents at some point, and maybe an adult child. At some point, that's going to come to head. So by having conversations around, how do we take care of mom? How do we take care of dad? I don't come from a well-heeled family. In fact, I spent a lot of time in my childhood in the welfare system. So my family needs some support. So I had to have these conversations with my family, my dad, my mom, my sisters. Who's gonna take care of mom? Who's gonna take care of dad? So I help take care of the financial part because that's what I can do. And my sisters, they help take care of my mom, take her to church, take her for groceries. Hi, mom. They take her for all the things that she needs. So we may not be able to all help our families from a financial perspective, but we can help them live more dignified lives because we give them voices.
Yeah, absolutely. Great advice.
Convincing us, Robyn. You
I know.
are. No, you bring us what we need to hear just when we need to hear it, and great advice always. So thank you, Robyn.
Yeah.
Really
Thanks for
appreciate
having
it.
me.
Okay, that is food for thought. Think about that and more. We're taking a quick break. We'll be back after this.
Hey there, what did you think? Drop your comments below and join the conversation. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you can find more on everything from food and fashion to pop culture and current events. See you soon.